Circle In, the Family Leadership Center podcast.
We'll provide practical tools and actionable solutions to grow a family where everyone belongs, contributes, and counts.
A peaceful world starts at home. Hey, Paige. Welcome.
Hi,
I'm so glad we're in the Circle In Family Leadership podcast, and glad we're here together. I'm Marjie Longshore, and I'm joined by my co-host, Paige Trevor.
Great to see you, Marjie. And we're here today to provide practical tools and actionable solutions to grow a family where everybody belongs, contributes, and counts.
Because as we like to say, a peaceful world starts at home. And we're going to look at today this idea of what the heart of it, like the very heart of that peaceful world, which is encouragement. But when we say encouragement, we're not just saying like rah, rah, we're saying something that it's like really deep. Paige, tell us what you...
For sure.
What you would say.
Well, Marjie, you and I started in the parent encouragement program with the middle name encouragement. And we think that being nice is encouraging or being only positive is encouraging. But the heart of the word encouragement, the way they taught us, was courage. And so it takes a lot of courage to lead a family, and it takes a lot of courage to be a kid in this world. So how do we use encouragement to show up courageously for our family? And you're a natural encourager. And some of us needed to learn it as a skill.
Well, it's true. It's like a practice, right? And we have to keep doing it for ourselves and each other. I love, one of the things I learned at the parent encouragement program was this idea that if you take encouragement, like you just said, break it out, you get courage on the inside. And even in the middle of that, you have core, which in Latin has that heart, right? So it's this idea that when you're being encouraging, you're heartening. You're like bringing out, you're inspiring with hope, with confidence. So it's not like this ego tough thing. It's this heartening and coming from the heart of getting to the core of it and the heart. And that's what we're talking about, like how we do that for ourselves and how we do that for our children and the people that we care most about.
How do we do it?
That's what we'll get into it. But there's a couple of ways, right? Here's the fascinating thing.
Yeah.
It blew me away when I read and I learned what is actually discouraging, which you think could be encouraging. So let's just jump to, there's a list where we talk about the behaviors that are discouraging and the behaviors that are encouraging. And I feel like it's just incredible to realize, when I'm here's the first thing on the list, judging and criticizing. Those are discouraging. And maybe that's duh. But at the same time, how often do we do that?
Well, I think that judging and criticizing your own kids feels like love and help. But when somebody else judges or criticizes your kids, you hear it for what it is. And I think parents need to know that when they judge and criticize their kids, it's very discouraging. But don't you think the intention is to help and aid and improve?
Yeah, it's that mistaken idea that if I notice everything that went wrong, you'll somehow be better tomorrow. Instead, but what we learn is if we can notice what's right and what was useful, they have something to build on. I saw you got started on your homework assignment. Rather than you didn't finish your homework assignment. Those are two different ways to see that thing, right? And as a parent, we're so worried they're going to end up never finishing things, and we focus on that, right?
It's, I think Wendy Mogul said it really well. It's just we get in trouble in parenting because we care too much. And so being encouraging is expressing confidence rather than judging. And noticing all the things that are done right, which reminds me of Louisa and the tights.
Right, that fun story where Louisa
really
is...
great story. I think you should share it because I think it shows this great journey of you learning what encouragement is, being courageous to practice it, and it being effective.
Yeah. So Louisa's 5 years old. needing to get to school. She's in kindergarten, and she's at the top of the stairs in our little house and screaming, like, ah, like yelling. And in the eyes of an average parent, she's like naked, basically naked. She was wearing tights, but that was it. And I kept saying like little prodding things like 5 more minutes and we need to leave, get your shirt on. Would you like help? And she's just not having any of it. And she was kind of just having a meltdown kind of, but I just couldn't get her out of it, And I go into my bedroom, and my husband at the time, we were married, and he was getting his tie on, getting ready to go to his job. And he goes, well, have you tried encouragement? Because I'm like, I don't know what to do here. And I was like, you're right. Because he and I both were loving classes at the Parent Encouragement Program. So he had learned about that from our favorite Patty Cancelier. And he was like talking about like, okay, and I was like, encouragement, that's like the one tool. I've been doing all these other little tips and tricks, but that was the one thing. So I'm like, I go out there and I look at her and I'm like, what could I say that's encouraging in this moment? And so I see her and I go, I see a person who has on tights and it's a cold day out there. That's a wise choice. She's going to be warm when she goes on the playground. And I didn't say anything else because that's all I could say. There was nothing else useful to notice.
Totally. Yep.
And so then the hilarious thing is, I wish I had this on video. She jumps up and she goes, I'm going to make some other good choices. Like, I'm going to choose another warm thing to wear, and runs into her room. And I was like, I'm going to go downstairs and get breakfast. Okay. And you don't say anything like, what? You just kind of go down the stairs like, oh my goodness, what just happened there?
So instead of criticizing, instead of getting your red pen out and telling her what was missing, you express confidence in the person's present abilities, which is to make good choice about what was on their legs.
I feel like in that moment, it would have been so tempting to be like, oh my gosh, here we go again. Why do you always do this in the morning? Why do you make our morning so la la la? Why are you so blah, blah, blah? Couldn't you be more like your brother? He's already downstairs having breakfast. You can imagine all the discouraging things I could have said and how useless that is, right? She just didn't need to hear it. She needed to hear something that she had done that was useful that she could build on.
Yeah. So those other words were like showing lack of confidence, which is discouraging.
Yes. Lecturing or offering rewards or punishment, which is fascinating because that's discouraging. A reward is discouraging inherently, which I think is a mind bender for people because they think, well, I'm stimulated by rewards or something,
Well, didn't the research show that like rewards work for people who are going to do it anyway? And rewards don't work for discouraged people. So the little kids who are going to read the books anyway love a sticker chart, but it doesn't motivate or help the kids who are slow to adopt reading.
Right.
I just remember that from Alfie Cohen, who studied rewards, and that was an interesting thing.
He's got a great book, Punished by Rewards. So it's right. And so in the lineup, if we're looking at what's discouraging, rewards and punishment. And the thing that helps me on that is, it's inherently discouraging to have somebody kind of doing the power over and saying, if you do what I want, I'll give you a treat. And I feel like that even as an adult in organizations where they're like, oh, do you want to get the next level? You'll get I kind of like, no, thanks. I'm good. Or maybe I do. I don't know. But maybe I'm going to do it, but I'm not going to tell you because I don't want your little level thing. I just want to be respected here and be myself. Like not have to be jumping through hoops for you all the time. So there's like that is a thing,
Yeah. And instead of a reward or a punishment, what would be encouraging?
Right. So it's acknowledging contribution with specific details. It's like noticing what was useful and how it made an impact. And so
that she picked those warm tights on a cold day.
Yeah.
So specific. When you go on the playground, you'll be nice and toasty.
How smart.
Yeah, right. Did you come into the world knowing to do that, Margie?
Oh,
Did you? Because it's just like noticing what people are doing right. I feel like that's really, it's like a different pair of glasses than most of us wear.
Well, I did have my family when I was a kid is big on gratitude. And so we had to always be like making gratitude lists or things like if something was going wrong, my mom would like let's go to gratitude, like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I did have that as a practice.
You did. Yeah. You noticed everything to be grateful for. So that's interesting. All right. I think, working with people, I just hear about so much more rescuing these days.
Yes. Okay. So that's fascinating that's discouraging, right?
Who knew?
Who knew? Who knew that rescuing is actually inherently discouraging? Because it tells the person, I actually don't have confidence you have what it takes. Move aside. Let me take it over. Let me fix this for you.
Yeah. I do know my kids had these artist trifold boards when they were in middle school. They went to kind of an artsy middle school. And I was like, I could kill it on a trifold board talking about Vincent van Gogh, like kill it. It would be so tidy and neat and wonderful, but it wasn't mine.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm so with you. And it was so hard not to, because you're like, oh, I didn't get to do that when I was in middle school. I always wanted to. Can I do yours? Can I make this awesome? But it's true. It's not our job and it's not our role. And it's not, there's another discouraging thing in there, which is taking over our children's tasks of life and trying to somehow make them right or perfect, like the taking over thing. What is that called? It's sort of like, I
interviewed someone who runs a Gap Well, which coaches kids in the gap year between high school and college and also getting new jobs. And he talked a lot about snowplow parenting. And that sounds like what that is. Like, I'm going to smooth out all these bumps where actually you'll learn how to navigate life to not have the bumps.
Yeah. Because that 7th grade science project is gotta knock it out of the park, it's like, no, that's just a little bump that they get to do. And maybe it'll be like a half completed board, but it's not your job. It's not, your job is to notice what's useful and to take care of your own science projects, and to tend your own stuff, which I have to notice in myself. I have this thing where all of a sudden when I haven't completed something and I need to get it done, my radar goes up for everybody in my family who hasn't completed something. And I'm like, that project isn't done yet. And then I start noticing, I think I have my own thing I need to complete and I'm trying to avoid.
That's a really good, I used to get on Facebook when the kids were little. And then when I would get off and the dopamine would drop, I'd yell at everybody to get off whatever screen they were on. Because I'd all been all drugged up by my own Facebook.
Totally. It's so funny. So when you hear yourself think, what am I sobbing for right now? And what do I need to tend? And encourage in myself. And what's not my job, and what can I notice that's useful?
Yeah.
And there's so much to notice that's useful. It's amazing. So, okay, there's a list of those things. Like there's noticing improvement. So you can just notice yesterday you didn't have anything on that science board. And today I see you've got 3 pictures up there. And focusing, and then another piece is focusing on the problem, not the person. So that's that encouraging is like, I see there's a problem called unfinished projects. What can I do to support you or something like that, rather than there you go again, not finishing things or something.
Rather than blaming. You make us late every day for school. This is so disrespectful. And instead, how would you turn that around?
Well, one thing I'm noticing is, wow, look at that outfit you put together. So much beauty and art. Each morning comes down those stairs. I don't know if that's the thing. But sometimes the people that are slow are the ones really trying to make sure they knock it out of the park as they head out the door. So noticing something useful. And then just saying what you need and following through on your own needs. So I need to be at the office by 9 because I've got this meeting. And that means I need to get out the door by 8:15. I'm willing to drop you off at school if you'd like. Otherwise, find another ride. I'm going to be heading out. Being clear on your needs and not deferring, just saying what you need, following through, and not making it about them. No, there you go again, making me later,
Yeah. You need to, I think, is a great warning signal for ineffective parenting. If you start any sentence with you need to, and instead framing the problem, you want to be shoulder to shoulder with your child against the problem of empty car at 8:15.
Yeah.
And how do we get everybody in the car by 8:15? How do we get full car by 8:15 together?
Yeah.
Not I'm against you, but together we're against this empty car and we need to have it filled up.
Yeah. All right. So we've named a bunch of things that we've gone through the behaviors that are discouraging and named their counter, which would be encouraging. One more that's kind of maybe obvious is humiliating. You know, like it's tempting to humiliate to try to encourage them to be different or somehow, but it just further discourages them.
Totally. Yeah. And it makes people defensive, right? When you blame people, people go inward to protect themselves rather than outward to solve the problem.
Yeah. But here's the interesting thing. When you feel like humiliating somebody or you feel that coming up for you, what can you do instead? And that's where it's really helpful. And it's hard to do this sometimes, but it's really helpful to describe what you see and hear and maybe clearly describe what you see and what you hear. Maybe that doesn't work or that does work or what you'd like to see, you know, but like not making it personal, but like, here's what I need, you know?
Yeah. And I think sarcasm is a little part of humiliation. And I think for some of us that was a very interesting insight to realize that being sarcastic is very discouraging to children, to people. And sarcastic people can find it funny and lighten the load and make it silly, but it really isn't. If you're trying to solve a problem.
Totally. A friend of mine said her daughter told her, Mom, you're always sourcastic. She called it sourcastic.
Oh, that's good.
And I thought it was
sourcastic.
I think it was a great play on words because not that the daughter knew she was doing that, but it is a little sour. Like it kind of doesn't go down well. It doesn't really work. And it's not useful, I think. And kids can't process it in a useful way. No. So save it for your own, you know, sense of humor.
It's not a problem-solving tool. It could be a different kind of situation, but it isn't to solve the problems of family life, like getting out of bed or getting dinner made or anything like that. It was a revelation to me because I would use humor a lot, and humor can easily turn into sarcasm, and that's very discouraging. Totally. Which just seemed a little bit adjacent to humiliation, which is why I brought it up.
Yes. And those are all discouraging, which is it's fascinating. So what we'll do is we'll put, if you want to download, we can have a list for you of things that are discouraging, just so that you can remember. And then the counter that would be encouraging. Yeah.
There's one more I wanted to talk about, which is being effusive. It's like rescuing, like you think you're being nice. What is like, oh my gosh, you're amazing. You're the best artist. You're the next Picasso. What would be discouraging about that?
Right. Well, like just imagine you're receiving that. I'm just sitting here thinking about, you have just said that to me. And it's like, I don't think so. Like, you know, like,
right. I'm 7. I don't think so.
Right. Or it's a little bit like, do I have to be the best to be okay here? You know, that's a little discouraging to think that, do I have to somehow be better than everybody else to be loved, you know? And that's inherent. Like there's a lot of ways you go down when you start hearing that you start to think, does that mean you need this to love me, you know? Or that I need people to tell me I'm great to be okay. Like all of those things are discouraging inherently.
Yeah. And instead, I feel like in the 90s, you were taught to do a lot of praise, to give people self-esteem, which you can't give anybody self-esteem because self-esteem comes from the inside. So what is encouraging?
It's being detailed and descriptive, right? So that little Picasso 7-year-old, you could say, I see somebody who took every color in your box of crayons and used it on that page. Is that right? You know, or tell me what you were thinking about. What does that make you feel when you look at that? You know, just noticing, being descriptive, maybe asking, and maybe they'll just be like, I don't know. Psh, move on to the next one. They don't need you to like tell them they're the best.
Yeah. And I think that, you know, when you use words like awesome or you're the best, like how do you repeat that? You know, that's a really high bar to be awesome or the best. And if I don't know how I got there, how do I repeat that as a 7-year-old? And who was it? Carol Dweck. What's the name of the book? Mindset.
It's
All about the growth mindset. and how
Yes.
praising kids actually makes them less courageous than encouraging kids.
Yes. And we have a whole thing on encouragement versus praise, which let's talk about that next time, because I feel like that's a whole, let's dive into it. But it's exactly right. This is teeing it up so nicely, because when we're effusive, when we're doing that, we give kids the idea that they somehow have to be the best, or it's just not, there's nothing to work on, to say, oh, like if you could imagine, I'm thinking of a person that said to me, oh, you're the best, blah, blah. And I couldn't think what I had done that was the best, and I wasn't sure. So I kind of found myself avoiding that person, because I'm like, I'm not sure if I'll be the best next time, and I don't know what I did, and I don't know why, and I'm a little nervous around you that I have to somehow be something that I don't know what I was doing, So it's a funny thing that it brings up for you. I'm just noticing in myself what happens when that when somebody does that.
Yeah, encouragement is you can use it when you're angry, you can use it when you're happy, you can use it when the kids are doing great, you can use it when things have gone south. And I think that the biggest thing is you can use it on yourself. It is so hard to be a parent these days, and the person who needs the most encouragement is you to yourself, so that interior dialogue is filled with courage and curiosity and capability. And it really is a practice, like you said, Margie. It's not a one and done. You don't learn it once and then you're finished. You don't say it once and then you're finished.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I feel like that's a lovely place to end. And this idea that when we have courage and we can encourage ourselves and encourage others, it creates this self-motivated courage to take risks, inner drive, person that says, I can, and I can handle hard stuff. Like that's what we're looking for here. So thanks, Paige. Well, I hope you have an idea to put in your pocket for today.
And be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode of Circle In, a Family Leadership Center podcast. And be sure to visit our website for more inspiration and resources, and check out the show notes.
Yes. And on our website, also at circlein.org, you'll find our toolkits and soon to come some news about upcoming programs that we're about to launch. So we hope you'll join us. And always, we like to say, peace begins at home. We hope that you found an idea to carry in your pocket for the rest of today.
Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode of Circle In, the Family Leadership Center podcast. Visit our website for more inspiration and resources.
If you are so inspired, leave a 5-star review. Together, we can widen the circle and create a more peaceful world.
Peace begins at home.